Let's get into some recent comments that NBA legend, Hall of Famer Isiah Thomas made. And in the midst of these arguments, disagreements, there's always so much gems that could be found that is much more than just the back and forth itself. And that's what we're going to analyze today. So apparently Lou Williams, as we know, Sixth Man of the Year, known for that award, recently retired. He made a comment saying that LeBron James would win 15 straight championships in 1975 within that era. Isiah Thomas responded back by saying, "I find it comical and laughable how some, not all, people think this is the first generation of basketball players that athletically could run and jump. I'm not sure he would be the best athlete in 1975, all things being equal." Now, before I get into his next tweet that he said, I want y'all to note that he specifically pointed out athletically, right? He didn't get into talent, skill, or even IQ, and you'll see why I said that in a minute. Another user online chimed in and basically said he was an old head who thought that the first people that did it before were always the best, and the game evolves after the older generations. And Isiah responded back by saying evolution has power because the first people who did it made it easier for the next people to come. Moving along, because there's a much bigger point than showing y'all some drama, I'm going to play y'all a clip of Isiah Thomas breaking down the differences between a LeBron James and a Michael Jordan. And he's going to make a point that actually aligns with the previous tweet I was talking about, where he mentioned athletically jumping and running and not looking at LeBron as the best athlete. Keyword athlete. Nonetheless, here's what Isiah had to say.
And you just don't walk in from high school with no institutional knowledge and dominate a sport for the years that he's dominated. So when you talk about LeBron James, Michael Jordan, I look at from the neck up, not necessarily from the neck down. And
so are you saying LeBron is better than Michael Jordan?
I would pick LeBron James.
You would?
For a bit more context, Isiah Thomas was arguing that LeBron James never had a great coach, a great mentor in his life to really teach him the game of basketball. He learned on his own, and he had this extraordinary IQ of the game. And that's why he said he looks at LeBron James as a better player from the neck up as opposed to the neck down. Neck up obviously meaning his brain, his thinking process, and neck down would be athletically, his gifts of jumping and running. So clearly he's been consistent with this theme of LeBron James being the greatest because of his mind. And this clip was 7 years ago, by the way. Now I'm going to play something a little bit more recent, and let's keep going deeper with this.
Magic, Kareem, Bert, Michael Jordan, he was a non-factor in the 80s in terms of his basketball team.
Before I continue, let me say that I do not have LeBron James over Michael Jordan. I don't want people to think I'm trying to subliminally make that argument to y'all. But what I do want to say is that the 80s is not far from 1975. Different eras, but they're still very close. So when I'm hearing Isiah Thomas say this, I'm thinking, well, if you have this much reverence for LeBron James to say that his IQ is so much better than even a Michael Jordan and others from previous eras that I didn't play for y'all that he was mentioning, wouldn't that mean LeBron would dominate 1975, seeing as it's not that far from when MJ came in the league and he was on a team that was a non-factor, or I guess in Isaiah's case, he was looking at it like he wasn't contributing to a winning team to get them to a championship at that point? That would be my question, and I would love for y'all to answer that for me. Because putting athletics aside, as Isiah has done with LeBron, if you're able to outsmart everybody on the basketball court and play chess, you're going to have a team that is relevant. You're not going to be a non-factor. Unless you're playing with the kind of firemen and plumbers that JJ Redick was talking about that he feels once existed within the NBA. And I think that's where this may be stemming from. The disrespect that Isiah Thomas feels when he sees certain comments like, hold up, you think that our era was just completely trash? Yeah, I give LeBron his credit all the time and put him up there as the best, but don't use him to downgrade us, right? At least that's what I imagine Isiah Thomas would say to himself. My last point I want to make, and this is probably another video that I'll do in the future, I'm thinking about in terms of the eras of basketball and how things really changed. Beyond just three-point shooting, because I covered that in my video, NBA offense on steroids, the Steph Curry effect. But I believe within that video, if I didn't show it, I'll quickly tell y'all now. There's a clip of Adam Silver speaking with Kevin Garnett, and KG asks Adam Silver, will the tenacity of defense, the intensity level, ever come back like it once was. And Adam Silver answered and said, well, we had to change the officiating and the way the game was called because it was unpleasant for the fans. And then he went on to say that a guy like Steph Curry wouldn't be able to flourish as well under those old school kind of rules. The reason I'm bringing that up is because that kind of context needs to be said now more than ever when you hear arguments being made that this generation of players are just way better than the years before. I'm not saying that no improvement hasn't been made and you haven't seen steps. Just keep in mind there's other factors that could attribute to that appearance as well. Anyways, peace and salute for listening. As always, hit me up in the comment section about Isiah Thomas and what you think about his remarks in regards to LeBron James now and the past clips I was showing y'all. Do you see LeBron dominated in any era no matter what? Who else would dominate no matter the date and time? Hit me up and let me know.
Now, that ain't sour grapes. Hold on. Come on over here and talk about it, because I won. Okay?
He did.
You can't be dismissive of what I did.